long time ago in a land far, far away. It is a dark and stormy night, a night fit for man nor beast to be out in an old farmhouse that is being shaken by the weather, and during those days, that 4 or 5 generations of the same family can be living in it. This one only has 3. The father is mapping out the work for the next day on the farm, while the children play near the warm and dry fireplace. Their grandfather is also there, rocking in a chair and smoking his pipe, lost in thought. Dad tells the kids, "Hey, guys, it's bedtime. You have school as well as your chores in the morning." They make their way over to the bed when the youngest asks, "Grandpa, tell us a bedtime story." The grandfather looks at his son, who nods because even he loves the old man's stories. The mother of the children hurries to finish her work so she too could listen herself. Grandpa starts, "It was a long time ago when dragons and other so-called mystical beasts roamed the land. By far, the oldest, wisest, and richest were the dragons. Now, dragons are large and of course can breathe fire, but they would only do that to defend themselves. For many years, they shared their wisdom with kings, wizards, as well as scientists of the earth. This helped make them very rich. Now, some of the important women of the day fell in love with these dragons because of their wisdom as well as riches. Now, this would continuously anger the knights of the day, being most of their money was used for their horses, arms, and armor and castles. The knights slowly realized that the dragons were keeping them from other riches, as well as marrying suitable consorts. This makes it so that they would pass along false word about them, saying that the dragons were eating people, as well as kidnapping women and children and holding them for ransom. This, of course, was a lie. While that ploy was not totally successful, the knights had to resort to brute force and attack the dragons in an attempt to destroy them. Sometimes they were successful, and most of the times, not. After a while, the dragons got tired of this and started fighting back. Now the dragons' power was far in excess of that of the knights, and after a short time, started looking like they were the evil. They weren't. After much thought, the dragons decided to have a meeting to try to figure their way out of this mess that they did not create. They decided to meet in the human city of Zurich. Being in general, the people there was neutral. All of the surviving dragons decided to head there in human disguise and figure out what to do as a group. If there is a war, it would be ruinous to both dragons and humans. Now, because dragons are long-lived, they were in no rush, so this meeting went on seemingly for years. The hotel owner did not care because he was being well paid. While the arguments were going on, one of the dragon's children seems to have disappeared and starts looking for his wayward child. He is concerned as any parent would be. He is looking all over for him. Finally, some of the other dragons joined him in his search, and they searched high and low and could not find him. They finally found him in the barn of the hotel, sleeping with a litter of kittens. They looked so cute and comfortable, all curled up with each other. The dragons, seeing this, have an idea. It was radical and would take negotiation. The head of the dragon delegation asked the hotel owner, which is the most powerful family of cats in this city. He would appreciate if that cat or his family can come down to the hotel for a talk. The owner does not really know, but spreads the word as a favor to his guests. Early the next morning, a very rich carriage pulls up to the hotel, and a single cat comes out and heads to the meeting room to find the dragons who wished an audience. At first, the two sides were very far apart. As time went by, both sides moved towards a middle ground. They eventually signed a treaty. The treaty stated, one Thedragons would undergo a one-way change of species with the permission of the cat population. Two the dragons would have to give up their long lives in exchange for acceptance among the cats. this was by far the hardest thing to give up. Dragons, until now, were virtually immortal. After much discussion, they decided to do so in exchange for a slightly longer lifespan. Ordinary cats live from 8 to 15 years. The dragons negotiated for 25 to 30-year lifespans. They were willing to give up a lot to save their culture. All of the dragon's wealth great would be taken away and used to help cats worldwide. This also was contentious, being many dragons were quite wealthy. For the newly minted cats could have only one litter of kittens per lifetime. This, of course, was to keep them from overwhelming the natural cat population. Dragons always had small families, so this was minor to them. The newly minted cats would give up much of their powers, still retaining some, like teleport or invisibility. Some more, some less. After all, they were magical creatures. The newly minted cats would be guarded when necessary from danger by the major cat families. If any of the converted dragons exhibited farsight, Clause 6 would be done. Being able to see the future is a gift, and any that do must be guarded and cherished by all. These were the major points that were negotiated. There were many others. The dragons paid their bill at the hotel, and then they just disappeared. Though 2 or 3 dragons remained in their original form, the rest agreed to the treaty. It did not go well for those that remained. Inside of 50 years, they had all but disappeared, hunted down by their enemies. Very sad. This is where the dragons went, out into the world, for all intents and purposes, looking like ordinary house cats. Because they were used to comfort, they looked for homes in working families. From time to time, they would nudge them into better situations to preserve their comfort. They slowly spread all over the world. Even now they are with us, as all in the house stare at a kitten, which has wrapped itself around a jewel near the fireplace, and they all wonder. Now, don't we all wonder when we see a cat with a hoard of toys? Did that used to be a dragon? Maybe yes, maybe no, but they are not telling. Grandpa finishes his story, and all in the house are looking at the kittens and cats. Now they are wondering, did these descend from dragons? Grandpa finishes, and all go to sleep. The 2 adult cats look at their children, and one goes to the other. Did you tell him? I didn't. The other answers, it's a children's story. No one would believe it. They then smile at each other.